Okay, women earn less than men for the same jobs. One major problem, women tend to ask for less money when negotiating a raise. This becomes an issue for some women. Not being aggressive in getting that raise can mean a big drop-off in salary and benefits for the future. And it's not necessarily trying to be more like men and be aggressive like them, but getting in there and advocating for yourself or having somebody advocate for you is really important.
I don't know whether you came up with this or someone told you about this, but I've always heard you say something about when negotiating for salary, always ask for something that ends in a 3?
Never give the number first,
okay,
and always end with a salary with a 3, because then you have a smile on your face. And if they say to you, why 3? Why 53? Why 103? You say, because I ended with a 3. I'm smiling and I'm worth it.
Men don't usually take that approach. They tend to be a lot more aggressive, suggesting that they're worth a lot more than anyone ever suggested they're worth. They also invest more aggressively as well. The bottom line, some of you may like this or some of you may not, and look, I think there's a valid argument here, but women and men often speak a different language when it comes to money. Don't take it from me. Let's bring Jeff Gardere in. He's a clinical psychologist. First of all, do you believe that's true? We've seen studies that say both the behavior and the outcomes are different for women and men when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to investing.
I think it was true for many, many years, and now we're seeing that it's changing, especially when we look at unemployment rates, and men have been affected by that more than women. I think women now are taking more of an assertive approach, a smarter approach, but all of that goes around the socialization of our children. We socialize, and it's changing, but we've tended to socialize our daughters to be seen and not heard, and our boys to be heard and to be seen. And therefore, women adopt that approach based on that upbringing, and so do men. But I think all of that is being flipped upside down now, because women now have much more that they can bring to the table. And we realize that in many ways they are superior financially, and that they do take the time to think a lot more as to the whole picture, because they're in the workplace, they're in the home, and so therefore they can see more of that global, that bigger picture.
He talks about socializing. It's interesting. One of the experts we had in our book was so adamant about this point. Sports might be a reason, because men are negotiating for, I'm going to be the first batter up, or I'm going to be on this part of the team, or I'm going to pick you to be on my team, very, very young ages. And women, girls, are tending to do different kinds of things that involve negotiating together and mutual consensus.
What's good for the whole group.
Exactly.
Well, women again, I'll make this very quick. Women again, it's almost like a relationship. What do women go for in a relationship? They go for more security. They go for someone who has perhaps a deeper personality, more complex personality. So what do men go for? Men go for the short term. What does she look like? What can I get out of it right now? And that's the same way that men tended to negotiate a lot of their jobs. Give me the big money, I want it right now, instead of looking at what all of the benefits are and how one can sustain oneself throughout a job with all of the benefits.
Not getting a $5,000 raise for a woman at the age of 22 is equal to about $500,000, I think at least $500,000 over the course of a working lifetime. So not going for the raise, or not getting the raise, or even for whatever reasons, I mean, many will say it's just simply women are paid less for lots of different reasons, including discrimination. That's real money. That's real money.
How do you see it, Lynette?
Well, I cannot tell you the number of women that I know who've come to me who've been underpaid on the job, undervalued, and scared to ask for a raise. They feel like if I ask, you know, I don't want to seem like I'm tooting my own horn. They feel like, oh, I just got this job offer. Should I counter? What if they take the job offer away and give it to somebody else who's willing to make less money? And so we really do have to address the fundamental issue that many women, I'm not saying all, and I'm not saying that this is exclusively a female problem, but many women definitely feel at a disadvantage at the bargaining table when it comes to the jobs.
I will tell you, I've working with clients for over 20 years, and unfortunately, I have a lot of widows as clients as time has gone on, and I found that the longer you work with somebody, a woman in particular, eventually they can be on this exact same plane as a man. Once they crunch the numbers, as Jeff said, they may maybe take a little longer time to come around, but they absolutely, it can be exactly identical in terms of risk level and how they set up their portfolios. They don't come in that way, but when you work, it's just explaining it and showing what you need to do to get there. They're very smart, obviously, and they can figure it out, and they get right on the same plane and can end up in the same place.
And that's why a lot of women are being unemployed less than men, because the men came in with those huge numbers, the big impact right at the beginning, deep impact, I call it, whereas the women were a little bit smarter in looking at more of a long-term picture, and that's why guys are being laid off much quicker than women, and women are staying employed.
All right, hold that thought for a second, because the question now, as we take it into that area of taking fuller control of your financial life, is to buy or not to buy? It's the question that many of you want answered. And whether we're talking about a house, do you buy or do you sell right now? Do you rent? We're going to get into all of that next on this special edition of Your Money, How to Speak Money.